Hey guys, it's Julie, designer with the Quilted Cow, and today's tutorial is on the Atalia Tote. Before we begin, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines and Creative Grids Rulers, Mats, and Rotary Cutters. Let's get started. The Atalia Tote is a Quilted Cow original pattern. You can find it on our website at thequiltedcow.com or on our Facebook Lives on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. This is the perfect tote for any of your needs. It's got variable length handles and it has cute little pockets right inside. You can do it with yardage or you can piece it together using a charm pack. Either way works great and it's very versatile. Let's get started with the first step. Our first step is to make our handles. So we want to open up our fabric and we're going to fold it in half. Once you have your center crease pressed into your handle fabric, we're going to open it back up and add our interfacing. We're just going to lay our interfacing right alongside this crease. Make sure it's nice and flush right with the fold. And then we're just going to refold it and press it back to adhere the glue. Repeat this step all the way down your handle fabric until you get it all interfaced. Once your interfacing is applied, we're going to open it back up. This time we're going to fold our raw edges to the center and match up the outside line. And we'll press once again. And repeat this for the rest of the way, all the way down the end of the handle. Once you're done pressing your handle, we're going to step to our machine and sew an 1/8 inch seam along both long edges. Once you have your 1/8 inch seam sewn into your handle, what we're going to do is fold our handle in half, matching up the raw ends. And you can determine what size your handle needs to be. For the video purposes, I am just going to cut my handle right in half. If you like a little shorter handle and you're just going to carry it on your forearm, you can cut it a little shorter. Then we're going to set our handle pieces aside and work on our interfacing next. So for our interfacing, we have two different kinds. We have our fusible interfacing and we have our foam batting. So what we're going to do is apply the fusible to the inside or the lining pieces. If you've done a pieced version of this, it's the same way. It's just going to be a pieced fabric. So all of my lining pieces are here and they all have matching fusible batting. So what we're going to do is just start applying them to the pieces that they match. So I have my bottom fabric and the piece that matches it. These are my pocket pieces that are the same size as the bottom, and I'm going to fold them in half and just apply the batting to the bottom half, lining it up, and then make sure it's nice and even on the edges. I'll do the same thing with my other inner pocket. Now let's press to adhere our fusible. Make sure the glue gets on really well. I'm going to press both sides. Now the pocket pieces we just did, we're going to step to our machine and sew a top stitching in right on the folded edge. We're going to continue applying our interfacings for all of its coordinating fabric pieces. Next, we're going to do our foam pieces. With the foam we use, it's a little woven on the outside and it just helps grab onto the fabric. You can use a basting spray or a basting powder if you'd like. You could even use a fabric glue stick. Now our foam is going to be just a little smaller than our fabric pieces, so you want to make sure it's nice and centered before you attach it. Just repeat this step to do all the rest of your exterior fabrics. Our next step is to apply the pocket onto the lining sides. So you want to gather those pieces, and once you get them all together, you want to line up the edges and the bottom and just put some clips in it to hold it in place. Once you have your pockets pinned onto your side pieces, we're just going to step to the machine and add a base stitch along the sides and bottom just to hold those in place. Once you have the base stitching done, we're just going to set those side pieces aside, and we're going to start forming our bag. Let's start with the exterior fabrics. So with all of your exterior fabrics, we're going to start with a side piece and a bottom piece and lay them right sides together. I'm going to put some clips to hold this in place. When we're sewing this, we want to start a 1/4 inch from the beginning and stop a 1/4 inch from the end on all of our seams. This helps it lay nice and smooth in the bag. Once your first side's done, we're going to add our second side to the other long edge of our bottom piece. Once again, starting and stopping a 1/4 inch from the ends. Our next step is to attach the sides. You can do this on either the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter either way. This time when we're sewing, we're just going to stop a 1/4 inch from where it meets the bottom seam or the bottom part of your bag. So the top, you can go ahead and put a locking stitch in. Once you have your sides attached, it should look just like this. This is the perfect time if you would like to quilt your bag. You can do it now before you form your edges, or you can do them individually before you even start piecing. Perfect time to start quilting. Once you get after this point, it's too late to quilt because your bag will already be formed. So what we're going to do is attach the side piece to our other edge of the bag. And we're just going to pin or clip that in place. Make sure you line up your top edge, and this will form a nice box. We're going to stitch our sides, and then we'll go back and finish stitching along the bottom edge. When we're stitching our sides, just like before, you're going to start at the beginning and stop a 1/4 inch from your bottom seam. Our next step is to attach the bottom and the side edges together. So we're just going to line those up, throw some clips in them, and repeat it for the other side. Now we're going to step to our machine and sew this edge together. Once our box is formed, we're going to turn the main or the outside of the bag right side out, and then we'll continue on with the lining pieces. So let's set this aside and gather all our lining pieces. And we're going to repeat those same steps. So we have our sides, we have our ends, our sides, and our bottoms. So we're going to take the side piece once again and just match it up with our bottom piece and put some pins or clips to hold it in place. We're going to sew this once again, starting and stopping a 1/4 inch from the ends. On one of our lining bottom pieces, we need to leave a 4 or 5 inch opening so we can turn our whole bag right side out at the end. Okay, so I left my opening on this side, and what I'm going to do next is just add this to the other long edge, and this time I get to sew the whole way across. Next, we're going to attach our end pieces or the sides of our bag, just like we did before, lining it up. Make sure your pocket opening is facing the top edge or the raw edge of your bag. So once you have your sides sewn, your bag should look like this. We're going to attach this edge of our bag to the side panels and pin or clip them in place. We're going to do the exact same stages as we did in the main line or the main part of your bag, and just form our lining piece. Okay, now let's clip our bottom edges together. And this time when we sew, we don't have to start and stop at the 1/4 inch. We can sew all the way across, catching those edges. Okay, once you have your bottom sewn, you should have another box. We're going to leave this one wrong side out and set it aside so we can attach our handles to our bag. So for this step, you're going to need your handles and your main fabric. You'll need something to mark with or a pin to place right on the edge. I am going to use a blue marker so you guys can see what I'm doing. We want to match up our corner fabrics and fold each long edge in half. And we're just going to mark right on the raw seam so we can find the center mark. Repeat this for both edges of your bag. Once you have your blue edge, we're going to measure 2.5 inches over from this mark, and we're going to add another mark just to the top edge of our bag. These are the places where our handles are going to be. So repeat that for your other long edge of your bag. Now the side of your bag should each have 3 marks. We are going to place our handles. Make sure you use one handle for each side and get some pins or clips to hold them in place. We're going to go just outside of where that mark is and put some clips to hold it in place until we can base stitch. Wrap that side of your handle right back up and do the same thing on the other side of the mark. Flip your bag over and we'll repeat that for the other side. Next, we're going to step to our machine and add a base stitch just to hold these together while we finish forming our bag. Once your handles are basted in place, we're going to place the exterior of our bag inside of the lining with the right sides together. You can clip your handles together on the bottom if you'd like, or just tuck them in so they're out of the way. Once I get my corners all lined up, I'll move around the rest of the bag and pin it or hold it into place with clips. Now I just want to make sure that the raw edges are nice and even on the top and put some clips to hold them in place. You may need to finagle your handles just a little bit to get these edges to lay nice and flat. Nobody wants their handles coming out crooked whenever your bag's finished. So you just want to wiggle them until they're nice and even. Now we're going to step to our machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam all along this top edge, and then we'll turn it right side out when we're finished with that. So now you want to reach in and make sure that all your corners are poked out just like you need them to be. And we're going to fold the opening in our lining under so that we can stitch that closed. I'm going to pin it with some clips to hold it together. When you're doing this at home, it's always best if your thread matches your lining, so that way you don't see this step. I'm going to use white so you guys can see what I did. We're just going to sew this right on the edge and an edge stitch or a top stitch just to close it. Okay, once you have your lining sewn closed, we're going to press our lining fabrics right inside of our mains. Make sure you're poking out the corners on the bottom edge. Trim off any excess threads that have happened. And then we're going to step to our ironing board or our pressing station and make sure that this edge is nice and secure. Make sure this edge is nice and smooth and flat. So you just want to slide your fabric in till you can see just the edge. So we're just going to wiggle our lining and press this edge nice and flat. Go all around the top edge of your tote, repeating the same step. Okay, once you have that top edge all nice and pressed, we're going to step to our machine and add a top stitching seam right along the edges. Okay, once it's top stitched, you are finished. As you can see the difference, this one has absolutely no quilting. And this one has pretty extensive quilting. So that's the difference in how it would look. You guys can choose whatever you want. Remember, it's your bag. You can find the Atalia Tote on our website at thequiltedcow.com or on our Facebook Lives on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Please like and subscribe for more tutorials, and thanks for watching.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.